The Merry Pranksters, Chapter 7, Episode 2. The hot mic catches me saying, "You cunts," but it's muffled by the sound of Armante and Hank fumbling around with the amplifiers behind me. The one person whose voice I do not hear or face I do not see is Gonzo. Looking back and forth between them, they have the glossy look of uncut cocaine and gasoline burning in their eyes. Armante shrugs his shoulders as if to say, "Yo man, what do you want from me?" While Hank is less forgiving. He rolls his double bass, making a drum beat that declares, "Gonzo is dead to me." Wearing a black leather jacket with his guitar flung over the shoulder, Dickie approaches the microphone. He pauses, gives the crowd one more aggressively silent look like he's staring out at a puzzle. He cries out, "Ladies!" daring them not to erupt in applause. Then, from behind our dark shades, the four of us exchange a nod that seems to agree on more than one thing before we hit those first power chords to funhouse mirrors like a piston. The explosion from the anarchist anthem rips through the pub in all the right places. The black flag is showing its multitude of colors as Barney and the rest of the motley gang accept the bougie newcomers into the circus. During the intro to Pleadin' the Fifth, a sudden breeze shakes me from a tranquil moment. The bitter sting burns while the eyes of the white tiger become beacons of hypervigilance. Her whiskers once more flare, and she begins pacing the floor again. No one would be able to identify the exact change in the air except to say that it reeked like stale hair gel until the second wave of terror came rolling in. It was then we watched as a mob of radical protesters, followed by a band of 3 men, muscle their way through the bar. They're all wearing a similar brand of dispassionate leather, as if that was the name of the hair metal band they were all once in. Leading the caravan is a tall, gaunt man of Hispanic origins with some kind of demented tribal band tattooed around his neck. Though the tiger continues pacing dutifully, it's the man with the prominent lines that makes him appear ugly and cruel that is calling the shots. He scans the room from behind a dark pair of sunglasses, mirrored like Dickie's, before the 4 of them commandeer a standing table near the eastern red pillar. Though no one recognizes them directly, they don't seem altogether unfamiliar either. And by the way Mort and Fuki are shifting around on their bar stools, I'm not the only one who notices. The crazy rich Asians are also growing uneasy in the presence of these dogs of war. Their vulgar mannerisms and the way their silver Hot Topic accessories are saying, "There is nothing in this bar that we won't steal," is enough to cause the gentlemen to reach for their billfolds and the gals to instinctively touch the hems of their skirts. The rusty old tycoon shouts, "Sit down, you scoundrels," as the leash on the albino tiger is loosened. Having both the magnetic gravity of a supernova as well as the vulnerability to see directly through him, Dickie continues singing White Noise before the audience. When I feel my strings slipping out of tune, Mort turns to Barney, who is looking up to us for answers, and Dickie bends his high E hard in a way that tells him not every fight is ours to finish. Too buzzed to see Val out in the chaos, I'm forced to confront the reality that there are 2 forces at work here in direct odds with each other, and the dragon who wins will be the dragon who is fed. Though we've never played it live, if anything is capable of reigniting this spark of divinity, we silently agree, it's the machismo of our newest classic, Holy Gunsmoke. Just as we're strumming the opening chords, however, I hear the ancient roar of a supersonic beer bottle flying past my head. The high-pitched shatter of the glass, followed by a blood-curdling scream from the front row, is enough for Hank to declare this scene unredeemable. We end the song before it ever had a chance to begin, and Hank gives Armante the nod to hit the opening bass line to "Fuck Your Uncle." In that moment, he could have chosen any song. any song in the canon, but he chose that song, knowing full well that choosing Take It Easy could have calmed this situation, just like playing fucking Hostile would have started a riot. It would be less than honest of me to say that we don't find some primal satisfaction in all of this. I know why Hank did it, choosing to pour gasoline on this dumpster fire, and I would have done the same thing. Maybe we all would have, but maybe for slightly different reasons. Fook is giving me a frantic cut gesture with the palm of his hand to his throat, like he hears the mischievous way I'm hammering the strings and is begging me to stop. Fookie and I both know that what will always be left is the knowledge that I could have stopped all of this. I just can't seem to wrap my mind around what game is being played here. The simplest explanation is that Hank ripped off the Irish Mafia and now they're seeking vengeance. But I can't say with any certainty that the true players in this game have even been revealed yet. Unable to honestly rule even myself out yet, it seems the only way we're going to flush out the villain is to allow this game to play itself out. Watching dark shadows grapple on the wall, a man with a long chain wallet and a mad look in his one unblemished eye rushed the stage only to be met with the business end of a Fender bass. It wasn't until Hank's snare missed a beat that Barney finally stood up, the ash from his cigarette dangling from the dull cherry as he tucked in his gold rope chain to his crisp white wife beater. Interrupting an aggressive man ranting about jihad and a Japanese gangster in a business suit, by the time the ash hit the ground, both men were laid out on the barroom floor, spooning each other in a pool of blood. A thunderous roar came from the tiger as she stalked her prey, and I found myself grasping at something fading, like a dream slipping through my fingers. Megami jumped over the bar, blowing her ancient war horn as pulsating blood flooded the barroom floor. Tables started shifting and the entire room began to sway like the crests of an angry sea. With the affluent tourists holding up their phones, trying to catch the next viral moment, the four of us were fighting a losing battle against the drums of war. Mort yelled out, "Right now!" as the albino tiger pounced. As Fook drugged the palms of his hands down his mendacious face, Megami shot us a flaming glance that probably translated to something like, "The price of freedom is eternal vigilance," and the Merry Pranksters knew just what tune to play. A mic dropped onto the empty stage as the boys grabbed their balls and knuckled down. There comes a time when any respectable rock and roll band must spit on their hands, grab their axes by the neck, and start slitting throats.